listen to me as I slow it down. Can't tell yours if you want it. Enjoy the ride, 'cause those ups and those downs is what makes it worth it.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Nitty Gritty Podcast. So I just wanted to first start off by saying how ungodly sore my legs are. And it's not because of a workout I did. It's because of the stupid cardio I did yesterday. So I'm in like a phase where I'm starting to just clean stuff up and I'm just trying to find a nice balance of everything. And I wanted to incorporate a little bit of cardio throughout the week. And every like 3 to 4 months, I get this kick, this urge you could call it, to start picking up running again. And you know what? Yesterday, I had that urge. And so I went on just a short run. It was literally only 10 minutes around my block. And I woke up today and my inner thighs are sore, my quads are sore, my calves are sore, like everything is just screaming at me now. And I knew this was going to happen. It literally happens every time I try to pick up running, but I still do it anyway. I probably won't stick with it, not necessarily because I'm sore, because anything new that you pick up, you're going to be sore from. I just have a very awkward running stride. I don't know how else to put it because it's very true. And because of my like awkward running stride, my feet turn out when I run. So then that affects my ankles, and then that eventually affects my knees that like produce pain. And then my knees eventually will hurt my hips. And it's just a big chain of a mess. So long story short, I probably won't keep up running. I'll just wait until the next 3 or 4 months and I have an urge to go on a random run and then regret it the day after. So for now, I'm probably just going to stick with Stairmaster because that agrees with my body so much more. But one other thing that I started incorporating in my routine that I really enjoy is the sauna. I have used the sauna a couple times before, but I didn't do it consistently, there we go, enough to see results. But I have been using it for 2 weeks now, for 5 times a week, for 20 minutes, and I love it. I have been seeing really good results with less inflammation, less water retention, which I believe I talked about that on my last episode where I just felt like I was holding on to a lot of extra water, and having that sauna time where I just sweat everything out has just helped the retention issues. And I'm still drinking a gallon of water a day. So I'm not dehydrating my body anymore. I'm just not holding on to that unnecessary extra amount of water. But besides that, another huge benefit that I have seen is my improvement in my skin. And that wasn't even like intentional of why I started the sauna. This was just like an amazing side effect that came out of it. Because I have struggled with acne for the longest time. I started getting acne when I was in 6th grade. So that would be like 14 years ago. So gosh, I think that was like when I was 11, I started to get that problem. And so we're just going to talk about skincare for a little bit. Like, girlies, I know everybody's always interested in ways to like make their skin look better. So I'm just going to share with you my experience. Just a disclaimer, just because all of these things worked for me does not mean it's going to fix your issues. But for myself struggling with acne for so long, I have finally figured out how to fix my issue, and I just want to tell other people because this might help at least one other person out there. I would get acne all over my chest. it would be on my shoulders, it would be on my back, it would be on my face. Like, I literally had it just everywhere. It was unfortunately really bad. Gosh, I even remember, this is an embarrassing story, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When I was in 6th grade, I remember there was a friend that every time she had a birthday, her parents would rent a hotel room. And we would hang out by the pool, we would hang out in the room and play games. Like, that was the cool, like, Midwest thing to do, because there was literally nothing else to do in the Midwest. Which, more than I think about it, I think the reason why their parents wanted them to do that mainly wasn't because the kids got to celebrate their birthday, but then that gave the parents, like, an excuse to have a night out. Because at this particular event, this hotel was connected to a casino. So they literally just took the kids to the casino hotel, had them play by the pool, let them have their fun while they kind of went out and, like, gambled and, like, partied as well. So that's kind of funny because I never thought of it that way, but that's literally why the parents had them do it for their birthday. But anyway, that was a side story. I remember we were with a group of friends. We were by the pool. It was outdoors. It was summertime. And one friend was kind of like behind me. And she looked at like my back and like my neck area. And she was like, "Oh my God, Nicole, you got bumps all over you. Are you okay?" And I was embarrassed because that was my acne, but I didn't want to admit that it was acne. So I was like, "Oh yeah, like, whew, it's kind of buggy out here. Like, are you guys feeling these bugs?" And they were like, "Yeah, I guess so. Like, it is kind of buggy out. They're just like really biting you up." And I was like, "Yeah, this is crazy. Maybe we should like go inside and like put our shirts back on," because we were in swimsuits at the time. And I was just so embarrassed because that was my first experience where my acne was pointed out and it was visible to other people. And I just carried on that issue for the next like years of my life. My acne actually didn't really start to settle down until 2 years ago, to be honest, and I'm 25 right now, so that's a long time that I've struggled with it. And I've tried many things throughout that time span to solve it, and just nothing seemed to work. But my like biggest mistakes that I was making, I mean, one, I was young. I was going through puberty at that time, so like obviously you can't really do too much about it. But going into like the later years of high school and into like my college years, I was still making these mistakes that wasn't helping my acne. And one of them is I was using face wash that was way too freaking harsh. Like, that was the thing that was advertised back then, like the Proactive and all of that stuff. Like, if you have acne, try this face wash that's gonna like dry the shit out of your face. Like, you wash with it once and it just sucks everything, and it's just like the Sahara Desert on your face. And then really your skin just tries to overproduce oils because all of it is stripped, and then it's just making things worse. So the first thing that I did is I switched to a gentle cleanser. And then I ended up going to an esthetician, and they looked at my acne and they noticed that it was all very deep acne. And she said one issue I was having is that my skin wasn't turning over and like exfoliating itself enough. So it was almost like trapped underneath the surface. So then that's when she recommended to start doing more things for exfoliation. So in my gentle cleanser face wash, it has a little bit of exfoliation in it. And it is very, very gentle. Like, when I use it, I don't even feel the exfoliation. Like, it doesn't feel like you're grinding sand against your cheeks. But it's just enough where it's still like having that skin turnover. So I do a face wash morning and night. And then I started playing around with different types of topical creams. And I tried literally everything under the sun. I've tried stuff that was prescribed by a dermatologist. That went terrible because my face reacted to it and I had an allergic reaction. And it swelled my face up so bad that I literally had to go home from school and it looked like I got hit by a truck. I believe that was like my junior or senior year of high school. So I was like, okay, that's out. And then when I was in college, I started trying more of like those online dermatology subscriptions like Curology. Again, that didn't work. But then I came across a company called Nurex. And this was the only thing that really started to make my turn in my acne getting better. And instead of using topical creams, I ended up having a like oral pill that I would take. So it wasn't trying to fix the problem from the outside, it was trying to fix it from the inside because something was off. And once I took that for a couple of years, that's when everything started to change. And my acne dramatically dropped down. It wasn't 100% fixed. After taking that medication, I want to say it got to like 75% better, but I still had that little bit left. So then incorporating specific topical creams with conjunction of the medicine, that is what fixed it to get better to like that 90-95%. And I think that is like where I am at now. So the topical creams that I have finally figured out that work best for me. In the morning, I use a very lightweight moisturizer. Emphasis on lightweight, especially with being a gym girly and I'm very active throughout the day and sometimes I'm sweating. I don't like having heavy stuff on my face because it just feels gross. So having a lightweight one is huge. I right now use Ordinary, their lightweight moisturizer. If you have a little bit more of a budget to spend on skincare, I would highly recommend Beekman 1802. Love their products, it just costs more. So then that's why I chose Ordinary, because it is a little bit more cost effective. But then in the morning, I'll take that lightweight moisturizer and I'll actually mix it in with the Beekman 1802 SPF and then put that on my face. So very simple right there. And then at night, again, I'll wash my face with the same exact gentle cleanser. But then I will put on a resurfacing cream instead of the moisturizer I used in the morning. And I feel like this resurfacing cream that I used at night is what really like excelled my skin texture, just becoming so much more smooth and like even with my skin tone and like getting rid of the acne scars. And it is the CeraVe Retinol Resurfacing Cream. You can buy it off of Amazon for like $11. It is super cheap, but it is so nice. And so after I wash my face, I'll just put on a little bit of that cream. I don't put anything else on top of it, and that's all. So really, for like topical creams, I'm only using 2 of them. Technically 3, but one of them is SPF. Otherwise, I just have a face wash, and that is all. So I have dramatically simplified my routine, and that has helped out. Because in the past, I felt like I had to do so many things because I thought just so much was wrong with my face and it was just throwing everything off. I stopped using toners. I started only using one type of face wash. I'm really only using, like a very select amount of moisturizers, just keeping everything simple. And now that I know that it works with my face, I am going to keep using those products. I'm not just going to keep trying different products. I'm just going to keep it the same. But circling back to the sauna, I feel like that also really helped with my skin. So that was the interesting thing, because as you can see, like with the timeline, I'm slowly like figuring out what is working with my skin. Like in the beginning, I figured out I needed that gentle cleanser. And then I figured out, okay, I need to simplify all of these topical creams that I'm having. And then just a week ago, I realized, okay, so now that I got my products down, if I add using the sauna on top of it, it takes that like 95% up to like 98% of having clear skin, which I was honestly shocked that the sauna helped, because in the past, my acne always flared up when I was in prep, and when I would start doing more cardio I would start sweating more during my workouts. Even if I went and showered right away after my cardio sessions, my acne would still get worse. And I just kind of knew that it was going to happen, and I just kind of dealt with it. So when I started adding the sauna into my routine, that's one thing I was more hesitant about, because I thought, oh shoot, I'm going to be sweating a lot more again. And usually when I start sweating more during my workouts, that's when my acne gets worse. But for some reason, it's the total opposite now. I'm sweating probably twice as much as I would with my regular cardio, but my skin is getting so much clearer. And the only thing that I can think of why the sauna is different is because of the heat. So the heat is supposed to help with circulation and have better blood flow. And I am assuming somehow mixed in with just like sweating everything out, that makes your skin better somehow. I'm at the point where I'm really not questioning it. I'm just like, I know it's working and I know it's making things better, so I'm just gonna roll with it. That was a long story. But that is essentially what I have tweaked and what I am doing now to make my skincare routine so much better. So if you're struggling with acne, don't feel bad. Having acne doesn't diminish your value. And I know there were times that I definitely felt like it did, because when you have acne, you definitely feel uglier. Like, it's not a pretty thing. But when I got older and the longer I had this issue, I just realized, like, who freaking cares? Like, I know that I am doing everything that I can to fix this issue. It's not like I'm just sitting in my own filth and not trying. I know that I'm doing everything that I can. And if I still have acne, then so be it. So I basically just started like not caring. And I feel like taking that stress off of myself helped with that as well. But anyway, long story short, that's my skincare routine that absolutely no one asked for. I find those types of things interesting because, yes, we're in health, we're fitness girlies, so I feel like skincare just goes all along to that. And a big reason why I am trying to be healthy all the way around is that it's not just going to help you in your day-to-day life, but it's going to also help you be better in your bodybuilding journey. Like, some people might think like, okay, you have clearer skin. Like, that's not going to help you become a better bodybuilder. But it really is, because bodybuilding is not just about being healthy when you're in prep. Bodybuilding is about being healthy 24/7 in all aspects of your life. If you were only trying to be healthy when you're in prep, you're not going to be nearly as successful. You should have a good foundation of health before you start bodybuilding, before you start going on any type of health and fitness journey. And I feel like in the past, that is where I have really struggled. When I would get into prep, I would be super focused. I would try to be very, very healthy, but it was almost like so much of an extreme. When I would get out of prep, I would just have this pendulum swing where the tables would turn and I would have troubles finding that balance. So what I'm really working on now is finding that balance, having that solid foundation. So when I do go into prep, I have a solid foundation. And having good skincare and having a good health routine is just one part of it. And so with a lot of people who are wanting to lose weight, wanting to start a bodybuilding journey, whatever it is, they want to get healthier. The first thing they do is they try to establish that healthy base, but they're just doing a 180 and just flipping everything too quick. And that is not going to get you long-term success either. You almost need to like slowly ease into it, because to be honest, being healthy does not have to be complicated. A lot of people just unnecessarily overcomplicate it for no reason. Having social media out there is a good and bad thing. It's good because there's a lot of information, but it's bad because there's a lot of conflicting information. And you can look up and find an article or an Instagram reel, a TikTok, whatever it is, to support any point you want to be proven. So for example, if you go on Google and you search up, why is coffee bad for you? You're going to find a lot of articles that say coffee is bad for you, you should not have it. But then if you switch your words and you type in, why is coffee good for you? You're going to find a lot of articles that say why coffee is good for you. So now you're at a point where you're like, okay, well shit, is coffee good for me? Is coffee bad for me? Same thing with turkey bacon, for example. You can look up why you should not have turkey bacon. It's processed, it's not a natural food, blah, blah, blah. Turkey's bad for you. Do not have turkey bacon. But then at the same time, you can go and you can look up, why is bacon bad for you? And you're going to find a lot of articles that says bacon's bad for you. It has too much fat. It has bad fats. It's going to clog your arteries. Same thing, XYZ. So now you're in a point and you're like, well shit, I don't know if I should have turkey bacon. I don't know if I should have regular bacon. I don't know if I should cut out my coffee in the morning. Like, what should I do? So if you see an Instagram reel that says some type of information, just don't take their word for it. Do your own research. Figure out, why are they saying it's bad for you? Does that actually affect you? Because one thing might be bad for one person, but it's not necessarily bad for the other person. Let's take dairy for an example. If you have an intolerance to dairy, sure, cut it out of your diet. But if you don't have an intolerance to dairy, don't cut it out of your diet. Same thing with gluten. Same thing with soy. It's all dependent on you. Now, of course, there's going to be some food items that, like, no matter what, you should cut out of your diet, like processed foods and high fructose corn syrup, stuff like that. But it doesn't mean you have to just go cold turkey with it. If you're the type of person where you're used to eating out 4 times a week and you're always eating processed foods and you're used to having only 50 grams of protein a day, okay, let's start with small steps. Let's make sure that when we are going out to eat, we're making better meals. When you are making foods at home, they're not going to be processed. You're having more natural food selections. And when you are having a meal, you're having a protein source in every meal. So you're making these small little baby steps because, like I said earlier, you want to make sure you have this foundation of health before you go through an extreme diet or a bodybuilding prep. Because if you force yourself to make that 180, okay, let's say you even are able to stick with it for the 16, 20 weeks, however long it is, but when that time frame is over, you're going to revert back to your old habits and you're just going to start exactly where you were. Versus if you would have taken the time to establish your base and slowly change those foundational habits and then go into a diet or then go into a prep, you're going to be able to sustain those results and those habits. So that's actually a topic that Jacob and I discussed last night, of trying to find a good middle ground between going out, having fun, still balancing our lifestyle, but still being able to be healthy at our core. And I still feel like we do very well with that. It's just sometimes you have to check yourself, because it's very easy to slip into those habits of pushing that unhealthy boundary where you're having, fun, doing things out of plan just a little bit more this week. And then the next week rolls around and you're doing stuff a little bit more. And you just kind of slowly get out of that health balance check. So kind of where it started with us is we would always do very active things on the weekend. So we would go to the beach and go surfing. We would go play pickleball. We would play disc golf. We're always doing something active. And one day we just randomly decided to go to this local bar and grill, and it happened to be Sunday and they were playing Sunday football. And I had never watched a football game in full in my life and have actually enjoyed it. And this was the first time where I watched the game and I was like, holy shit, this is actually a fun, interesting game. And I think it's because I always watched college football, and I think college football is just the most boring thing ever. But this was the first professional game that I watched from a good team, and it was a very close, fun game. And so that got us hooked. We were having some wings, because that was the reason why we went there. It's because they were having a sale on wings, and that was kind of our free meal for the week. Free meal in a sense of a cheat meal. I just don't like calling it a cheat meal because it's technically in my plan. It's just a free meal in the sense where I'm not having to track it or be as strict with it. So anyway, we had a lot of fun. We had a couple drinks. And so when the next weekend rolled around, we wanted to do that again. And so it became a ritual. Every Sunday, we would go to the bar, we would have our wings, and we would watch a football game. And we really, really enjoyed that. But eventually, it started to slowly leak out where we were oh, well, it's Saturday. Maybe we can go to a bar and see what game they have on then. Or maybe it's a Friday night. Let's go out and have a couple drinks and have some fun. Or maybe we're going to go golfing on Saturday and we'll have some drinks with friends. And it just kind of turned into, we were trying to have more of that fun time the whole entire weekend. And I use fun in quotations because it's more so relaxed on the eating and drinking and spending money, not necessarily of us actually having fun. You should have a fun weekend, no doubt about that. But having fun doesn't mean it's going out and eating crappy food and having a whole bunch of drinks and, spending a whole bunch of money. You can still have clean, healthy fun. But we were just kind of pushing those limits more and more each day. And so last night when we sat down and talked about it, we were okay, we need to reel it in just a little bit. Not just from like a financial standpoint, but from like a health standpoint as well. Because when you go through life, your habits are going to determine if you are going to stay the same, if you are going to get worse, or if you're going to get better. And we notice a trend where us going out to eat, having a whole bunch of drinks, spending a whole bunch of money, it was making us maintain, which is fine in some sense if you're fine with where you're at, but we're the type of people where we're very highly motivated and we always want to be getting better. And so we decided like, okay, we should have just one big event on the weekend that is our quote unquote fun time, where we can have some food, we can have some drinks, we can spend some money. And then all of the other times during the week, we're going to reel it in a bit more. So we can still go and do fun things, but maybe instead we're going to go play disc golf again, or we're going to go play pickleball, or we can go play golf with our friends, but we're not having to have a 6-pack of White Claws while we're doing it, you know? We're just finding that healthy balance. So throughout the weekend, we're going to sit there and determine like, okay, what is our fun event? And then what are going to be the other healthy, clean, fun events to fill the rest of the weekend? So, for example, this upcoming weekend, we have a couple of friends who want to go golfing. So we're probably going to take that as our fun day. So we're going to spend some money golfing. We're going to have probably a couple of drinks, and then we might have some food afterwards. But around that, we're going to have good, healthy, clean fun. At least talking from at least my perspective, because I still want to bodybuild and I still want to get better with my physique and my progress in the gym. And I know if I am having a lot of drinks on the weekend and I'm just eating like an asshole and just eating whatever the heck I want for 2 or 3 days, I'm not going to be able to progress. So I know that I need to reel it back in so I can start seeing that progress. And then also from a financial standpoint as well. Yeah, we have enough funds where we can do all of this stuff and be completely fine, but we're not leveling ourselves up. We want to still be able to have extra funds where we can save it and we can put it in investments. So in the future, we're going to be financially leveling up. And I think that is a huge thing that a lot of young people don't do, is that they're just like, oh, this is the money that I'm getting in, so this is my budget that I need to spend. It goes into all aspects of life. So it goes into improving your relationships as well, because if you're always depending on having a fun time with this person by drinking or partying or going out and doing something extravagant, then it's like, well, what's really happening with your relationship? If you have a strong relationship with that person, you should be able to do anything with them and have a good fun time. And that's kind of like going into your 20s when you're like figuring yourself out, and how when you're in college you have your fun like party college friends, and then when you move out of college, how you lose a lot of contact with those people because they were just your party friends. They weren't your actual friends. And that's the same thing with like your relationship with your spouse or whoever you're with. You want to make sure that it's strengthened in all different ways, not just dependent on going out to all these extravagant events. And I think that is one reason why Jacob and I are so strong together, because we have so much fun in all of these outside events and going on our adventures on the weekend and stuff. But anyway, long story short, that is the changes that we're making to just live a healthier, more balanced life. Since we've made these changes, I feel a lot happier. I feel like it's just a really good feeling to have that balance and just knowing that you're doing things right to get better and that you're just not stuck where you're at. But with that being said, there is one more football game left for this year's season, and that is the Super Bowl. I am shocked because this is the first year that we have watched a decent amount of football games and have like followed them through the bracket that followed up to like the big game, the Super Bowl. So it's really cool to see those teams like make it to the championships. It's almost like bodybuilding in a way of like watching all the shows, seeing who wins the shows, and then seeing them at the Olympia. It's kind of like the same thing. So because of that, I know that not this weekend, it will be next weekend. Our fun event is going to be the Super Bowl, and we're gonna plan to have some good food, some good drinks, and just some good times with our friends. We still got to figure out what we're doing for that event. We possibly might host it at our house. I would much rather do something at our house than have to go out to a bar during the Super Bowl because that's gonna be insane. We went out last weekend for like the final playoffs to see who was going to play in the Super Bowl, and that already was a little crazy. That wasn't even like the big game, and like everybody watches the big game, so I feel like I'd almost rather be at home with like our group of people so we don't have to deal with all like the stupid drunks out in public, because if you know me, I hate stupid drunk people who don't know how to control themselves, and that's a whole nother reason like why I don't like college bars. But that's a whole other story. But anyway, that is going to conclude this week's episode of the Nitty Gritty Talk. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like this video because it really helps me out. Otherwise, I will chat with you guys later. Goodbye.
Listen to me as I slow